They looked impossibly heavy, like something that belonged to proper builders, not her small back garden. "Right then," he said when she opened the door. "Got everything we need. Should have you straightened out by Sunday." She made tea while he organized his tools in the garden. Through the window, she watched him lay everything out, with the care of a surgeon preparing instruments: saw, hammer, spirit level, a tin of something that might have been wood treatment. Moss observed from his spot on the windowsill, tail twitching with deep suspicion. "He doesn't trust the toolbox," Iris said when Tom came in for his tea. "Smart cat. Toolboxes mean change." They stood at the counter, looking out at the propped fence. The emergency stakes from Sunday's storm had held, but only just. One more good wind, and the whole thing would go. "I should let you get on," she said. "Actually, could use a hand when I dig the old posts out. Someone to hold things steady." "I don't know anything about fences." "Don't need to. Just need to know about holding things." So she found herself back in the garden, wearing her oldest jeans and the jumper with paint stains, from a decorating attempt years ago. Tom worked the spade around the first post, loosening earth that had held it for who knew how long. The wood came up black and soft at the base, collapsing as he pulled. "See? Completely gone. Probably been rotting since before Mrs. Halloway left." She held the fence panel while he dug. The work had a rhythm to it: dig, wiggle, pull, check. Her shoulders started to ache after 20 minutes, but she didn't say anything. There was something satisfying about the physical effort, the simple goal of keeping things upright. "You said you were born here," she said, needing conversation to distract from her burning muscles. "Number 12, Millfield Road. My mom still has my height marks on the kitchen door frame." "But you left?" "University, Birmingham, then London for a bit, working for a landscape firm. Big projects, lots of money, lots of meetings about meetings." He gave the post another wiggle. "Came back for Mum's 70th. Never quite left again." "Do you miss it?" "The city?" "Sometimes. Usually about February, when nothing's growing and everyone here knows your business before you do." He pulled the post free with a sucking sound. "But then spring comes round, and Mrs. Jensen brings me seedlings she's grown too many of. And Ted Brennan drops off a box of apples from his tree, and I remember why I stayed." The second post came out easier. Practice making them quicker. Iris's arms trembled now, but Tom didn't mention it, just worked steadily on. By noon, all 3 old posts lay on the grass like casualties. "Lunch?" she offered, though her cupboards held nothing more ambitious than cheese and crackers. "I brought sandwiches. Enough for 2 if you don't mind ham." They ate, sitting on the back step, looking at the fence panels propped against the house. The sandwiches were good. Proper ham, grainy mustard, thick white bread from the bakery. Tom ate neatly, catching crumbs in his palm. "Your house," she said. "The one with the difficult door. Where is it?" "Just off back lane. Blue door that needs repainting. You'll know it by the state of the front garden. Bit of a cobbler's children situation." "Your own garden's a mess?" "Disaster. Keep meaning to sort it. Never quite get there." After lunch, the real work began. New posts meant new holes, deeper than the old ones. Tom measured twice, marked the spots with spray paint, then started digging. Proper digging. The kind that made her own morning efforts look like playing in sand. She made more tea, brought out biscuits, held things when asked. Mostly, though, she watched him work. There was an economy to his movements, no wasted effort. When he stopped to drink his tea, she noticed the calluses on his hands, the way he rolled his shoulder like it hurt. "I can find someone else if you need to stop," she said. "God, no. Just old injuries complaining. Fell off a roof a few years back. Shoulders never quite forgiven me." By 4, the first post was in. He'd mixed concrete in a wheelbarrow that had seen better decades, poured it carefully around the base, used the spirit level obsessively until it stood true. "Has to set overnight," he said, already starting the second hole, "but that one's not going anywhere." Mr. Pritchard appeared at the gate around 5, walking stick in one hand, a carrier bag in the other. "Thought you might need supplies," he called. The bag contained a thermos of soup and most of a fruitcake. "Margaret next door made too much," he said, which Iris suspected was a lie. But the soup was warm and good, leek and potato, nothing fancy. And the cake had enough butter in it to count as a food group. "How's the fence looking?" Mr. Pritchard asked Tom. "Getting there. Should be done Sunday if the weather holds." "I remember when Harold put this fence in. Must have been, 15 years ago, maybe 20. He and Mrs. Halloway had words about the height." "Who won?" Iris asked. "Mrs. Halloway. Always did." They sat in the kitchen as dark came on, eating soup and cake, while Tom explained about concrete curing times and why you couldn't rush it. Mr. Pritchard told a story about a fence dispute that had lasted 3 years and required solicitors. The cottage felt full of voices, warmth, the particular comfort of people who didn't need entertaining. "I should go," Mr. Pritchard said eventually. "These old bones don't like the cold." Tom walked him to the gate. She saw them through the window, Tom's hand hovering near Mr. Pritchard's elbow, not quite touching, but ready. The small kindness of it caught her off guard. When Tom came back, he started gathering his tools. "I'll be back Saturday morning. Early if that's all right. Want to get the posts in before lunch." "I'll have breakfast," she said without thinking, then wondered if that was too much, too presuming. But he smiled. That'd be good. Nothing fancy, though. After he left, she stood in the garden with a torch, examining the day's work, one post standing straight and certain, 2 holes waiting, the fence panels leaning patiently. Tomorrow it would all still be here, waiting for Saturday, waiting to be fixed. Inside, moss had claimed Tom's chair at the kitchen table. She made toast, 2 slices with the last scraping of butter, and ate standing at the counter. Her shoulders ached, her hands had blisters forming, and concrete dust had somehow got everywhere. But the tired felt good, earned. She ran a bath, added the fancy bath salts someone had given her years ago, and she'd been saving for unclear reasons. Soaked until the water went tepid and her fingers pruned. Through the bathroom window, she could see lights in other houses. Families settling into evening, televisions flickering, the ordinary Wednesday business of a village heading toward sleep. Thursday came gray and spitting. Not proper rain, just enough moisture to make everything unpleasant. Iris spent the morning in town, stocking up bread, butter, eggs, bacon for Saturday's breakfast. The kind of shopping that suggested meals for more than one. At the baker's, the woman behind the counter said, "Heard Tom's doing your fence." Of course she had. "Coming along well," Iris said, trying for casual. "He's good, Tom. Reliable, Not like some. The woman leaned closer, conspiratorial. Did the Hendersons' patio last summer. Lovely job. They had him round for dinner after, you know. The implications hung in the air like flour dust. Iris took her change, her bread, her exit. At the greengrocer's, more of the same. Tom's van was at yours yesterday, then? Not a question. The fence, Iris said firmly. Course. Good lad, Tom. Shame about him and Sophie. She didn't ask. Wouldn't give them the satisfaction. But the not knowing followed her home, niggled while she unpacked shopping, made lunch, attempted to read. Around 3, Lorna appeared at the door with a tin. Biscuits, she announced. Made too many. Hate it when that happens. They were still warm. Iris made tea automatically, and they sat at the kitchen table while the strange, not quite rain misted the windows. Heard about the fence? Lorna said. Christ. Does everyone know everything here? Pretty much. Mrs. Patterson saw Tom's van, told Mrs. Bishop at the post office, and, well... She shrugged. Village. The baker mentioned someone called Sophie. Lorna's face did something complicated. Ah, that. She was Tom's girlfriend, a few years back. Worked at the dental surgery. Nice enough girl, bit... She paused, choosing words. Ambitious. Wanted bigger things than Little Darlow could offer. She left. Moved to Manchester. Marketing job or something. Tom took it hard. Part of why he came back from London, I think. To be with her. Then she goes and does the same thing he'd done. They sat with that for a moment, the small tragedy of mismatched timing. He seems... Iris started, then wasn't sure how to finish. He's all right now. Been a couple years, but he keeps to himself more than he used to. Hence the village interest when he spends a whole day at someone's house. He's fixing my fence. I know. So does everyone. Doesn't stop them hoping for drama. After Lorna left, Iris stood at the back window, looking at the post Tom had set yesterday. It stood straight in its concrete collar, ready for whatever came next. She thought about London, about Birmingham, about Manchester. All the places people went to become bigger versions of themselves, and all the places people left to become smaller, quieter, maybe truer versions instead. That evening, she skipped toast, made proper scrambled eggs instead, taking her time, stirring constantly over low heat the way her mother had taught her. Added cream at the last minute. Ate them with 2 of Lorna's biscuits for pudding, because adult life meant you could do that if you wanted. Friday dragged. The not quite rain continued, keeping her inside. She cleaned things that didn't need cleaning. Finally tackled the box of books in the spare room, finding homes for novels she'd forgotten she owned. At the bottom, wrapped in tissue paper, a photo album she immediately rewrapped and shoved on the highest shelf. Not today. Mr. Pritchard knocked around 4. Walking past, he said. Thought I'd check the post. They stood in the drizzle, examining Tom's work like art critics at a gallery. Good job, Mr. Pritchard declared. Proper deep, that'll last. He seems to know what he's doing. His dad was a builder. Before he passed. Tom learned young. Another piece of history, casually offered. She was collecting them now. Sophie who left, the father who built things, the height marks on a kitchen door frame. I'm making toast, she said, if you'd like some. He hesitated and she wondered if she'd pushed too hard, made it seem like charity. Or you could help me finish Lorna's biscuits. She made too many. That worked. They sat in the kitchen while the light failed, working through the tin of biscuits, talking about nothing much. The new traffic lights on the high street, the church roof fund, whether Mrs. Patterson's cat was actually a cat, or possibly a small bear. Mary liked that cat, Mr. Pritchard said suddenly. Used to save chicken scraps for it. Thing followed her home once, sat outside our door for 3 hours waiting for more. It was the most he'd said about his wife, without prompting. She sounds lovely, Iris said carefully. She was. Simple, factual, funnier than people knew, had a wicked sense of humor, used to leave notes in my lunch when I was working. Silly things, drawings sometimes, terrible drawings. She couldn't draw a straight line with a ruler. He smiled at something remembered, private. I kept them all, the notes, in a shoebox. Don't know why. Because they're hers. He looked at her then, really looked, and nodded. When he left, she gave him the rest of the biscuits in the tin. For the weekend, she said. Save me from myself. Saturday arrived sharp and bright, the kind of autumn morning that made everything look clean. Iris was up at 6, anxiety about breakfast driving her from bed. Bacon, but not too much. Eggs, scrambled or fried. Toast, definitely. Mushrooms. Did she even have mushrooms? She did. Also, tomatoes getting a bit soft. Perfect for grilling. Tom arrived at 7:30, toolbox in hand, wearing a jumper with a hole in the elbow. You're early, she said. Wanted to get the posts in while it's dry. Rain's coming later. Breakfast first. She'd set the table properly, placemats and everything, though why placemats mattered she couldn't say. Tom sat without ceremony, comfortable in her kitchen now. She served up eggs, scrambled, safer, bacon, crispy, mushrooms and tomatoes, slightly charred, but in a good way. Toast, perfect. He ate steadily, appreciatively. This is good, really good. It's just breakfast. No, it's Saturday breakfast. Different thing entirely. They ate mostly in silence, but it was comfortable. Outside, birds were having opinions about territory. A dog barked somewhere. The village waking up. Right, Tom said when his plate was clean. Let's build you a fence. The second post went in easier. They'd learned the rhythm now. She mixed concrete while he held things level, the rolls reversed from Wednesday. Her blisters had turned to calluses, or at least the beginning of them. Other way, he said, when she stirred anti-clockwise. Always clockwise with concrete. Why? No idea. Just what my dad taught me. The third post was the hardest, needing to align with the other two and the existing fence that bordered the Mitchell's garden. Tom measured obsessively, adjusted fractionally, measured again. Has to be right, he muttered, or it'll bug me forever. Finally satisfied, he poured the concrete while she held the post, leaning all her weight against it to keep it true. Her arms shook with the effort. Nearly there, he said. Just another minute. When he finally said she could let go, her arms felt like they might float away. Now we wait, he said. Tomorrow we can hang the panels, but the concrete needs tonight. They stood back, admiring 3 posts standing at attention. The fairy lights drooped between them, patient. Lunch? She offered. though it was barely noon. I should go. Got the Brennan's greenhouse to finish. He paused. But tomorrow, after we hang the panels, if you're offering, I'm offering. He gathered his tools, loaded the wheelbarrow into his van with ease. At the gate, he turned back. It's looking good. The fence, the garden, all of it. After he left, she walked the garden perimeter, examining their work. The posts stood firm, ready. Tomorrow there'd be a proper fence again. The fairy lights would have something solid to hang from. One more thing fixed, settled, made right. The rain Tom had predicted arrived mid-afternoon, but gentle, nothing like last week's dramatics. She made toast and ate it, watching water bead on the kitchen window. Moss appeared, investigated his food bowl, judged it adequate. Around 4, her phone buzzed. The village WhatsApp group. A photo of her garden from above, must be from the Hendersons' bedroom window, showing the 3 posts standing guard. Fence watch, day 4, someone had written. Progress noted. She laughed despite herself. Of course there was a fence watch. Another message popped up. From Lorna. Ignore them. Bored. Mrs. P's hip replacement is old news now. Then, from an unknown number. Tom here. Lorna gave me your number. Hope that's okay. Posts look solid from here. She looked out the window. Could see his blue door in the distance if she squinted. Typed back. Can you see them from your house? Kitchen window. If I stand on a chair. Why are you standing on chairs? Changing a light bulb. Definitely not fence watching. She smiled at her phone like a teenager. Caught herself. Put the phone down. Picked it up again. Before she could overthink it. Tomorrow lunch is soup. That okay? Perfect. See you early. Evening came soft and gray. She made proper dinner for once. Pasta with the last of the tomatoes. Some basil from a pot on the windowsill that was miraculously still alive. Ate at the table instead of standing at the counter. Even used a proper plate instead of eating from the pan. Progress, she thought. Small steps towards something that looked like normal life. Mr. Pritchard passed by around 7, didn't knock, but raised his stick in greeting when he saw her at the window. She waved back. These small acknowledgments, she was learning, were how the village worked. Not every connection needed words. By 8, she was in pajamas, curled in the chair by the lamp with a book she was actually reading this time. Moss claimed her lap, a rare honor that meant she couldn't move for the next hour at least. Through the window, the 3 posts stood in their concrete boots, rain-slicked and patient. Tomorrow, they'd hold panels. Next week, the fairy lights would go back up. Small fixes adding up to something bigger. A cottage that worked, a garden that stood straight, a place that looked cared for. Her phone buzzed. Tom again. Meant to say, "You did good today. Mixing concrete's harder than it looks." She typed, deleted, typed again. Settled on. Good teacher. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, same time tomorrow? Same time. She put the phone aside, returned to her book. But the words swam now, her mind on tomorrow, on fence panels and soup, and another day of fixing things with someone who knew how to fix them. The rain whispered against windows. The cottage creaked its nighttime settling. And in the garden, 3 posts stood guard, ready for whatever came next.